Okay, this person DM'd me on Twitter a few days back. I was going through some pairs, and then I realized that I've actually developed a pattern of doing analysis from looking at the same type of price action. Right now, I'm questioning myself if I have a trading plan or just a visual trigger to click when the charts look familiar. How do you gain context beyond just price action? Because the chart can look similar in lots of different markets, but could be driven by different factors and have different outcomes. I love this question, and here is the answer to it. So I've included here a video, and this video
How to actually
basically explains how to properly review trade screenshots. So let me explain. Let me explain. So if you want to get more context, what we can translate this into is just more insights or more data or more information, right? We want to get a better understanding of what is actually happening in the trade screenshots which have the same type of price action. So here's how you would do it. This is very, actually, you know what? Do I have the link to this? Oh, I don't have the link to it. Okay, anyway, I'll speed run it here. That's fine. What you would do is in the trading journal, spreadsheet, if you go to educational resources, it'll be somewhere in here. You'll be able to find the actual template for this, the trade screenshot review template. Open this up. Once you've got the template, you'll have these two columns, good trades and bad trades. What you'll want to do is you want to go and first go through your trading journal and pick all of the isolate all of the trade screenshots which have the same type of price action. So let's say out of your journal, maybe 50 of those trades had the same type of price action. So you now have one column with 50 trade screenshots. The next step is we want to go and filter those 50 trade screenshots into good trades and bad trades. And I have the definitions here for how you could determine whether that trade was quote unquote a good trade or a bad trade. And yeah, this video basically explains the entire process for how you would go and filter those trades. So we have these 50 screenshots, we have the bad column, we have the good column. Now we're throwing these into these two columns. So let's say there's 50 here. Now, instead of having 50 screenshots in one column, you might, and after you have filtered them through this template, you might have something that looks like 20 bad, 30 good. Now, once you've done that, the next step is to compare the differences between the bad and the good. What are the recurring patterns which keep appearing in this batch, and what are the recurring but don't appear in this one, and what are the patterns which appear in this one but don't appear in that one? And what you can do, this is an option, and I would recommend like playing around with it. It's not perfect on the first try, but I'd recommend it, is to go and feed these screenshots to an AI, because AI right now is actually really good at interpreting image data. It might take a few iterations because you might have to train it a little bit on what exactly it's actually looking at and what it's looking for. But you absolutely can do it. It's possible. It absolutely is possible. So you're trying to play a game of spot the difference. Now, the act of playing spot the difference is what is going to give you more context beyond the price action, because the better that you understand the differences between the good and bad screenshots is the same thing as you having a better understanding of the context which actually drives some of these to win more than, like, if you have the same type of price action, some of them are going to be making you money, some of them are going to be losing. And some of them which are making you money, there might be a reason behind that, and some of them which are losing, there might be a fundamental reason behind that. So you might have 50 screenshots which all have staircases, but for some reason, why does this batch make you money, and why does this batch of staircases lose you money? And you might find out that, oh, actually, in these ones, the volume, the average volume is less than 50K. And in these ones, the average volume is greater than 100K. So it's like, huh, interesting. It turns out that my average slippage per trade on these momentum trades, which have similar price action, just because they're less liquid, my average slippage per trade goes up. That kills my edge because the fees are too high and the slippage is too high, and I'm basically getting wrecked just purely to cost. So it's like, okay, cool. The next step from there is I'm going to go and create a rule such that if the coin that I'm looking at, it must look a certain way, but it must also have, it must also cross or be above a certain volume threshold for me to consider trading it. If it's below the threshold, even if it looks good, I'm still going to say no to it. So basically, the answer to this question is you're going to have to, so there's absolutely nothing wrong with having a whole bunch of charts or trading when stuff just looks similar. Right? There's nothing wrong with that. That's like step one. We want to be trading with some kind of system or to have some kind of visual aids or visual triggers when stuff looks familiar or looks similar in some kind of way. And then through this continuous process of review, iteration, our definitions for how a specific trade needs to look like for it to be worth it for us to take, that's going to evolve over time. But yeah, I'm going to wrap up the video there. I hope that was helpful. If you're feeling a little bit confused with going through this process, just send me another DM again, and I'll go back and forth with you until we're both on the same page. But yeah, I hope that was helpful. And by the way, if you're serious about improving as a trader, I'd like to invite you into my free Telegram. Here's what you're going to get inside. You're going to get a 100-page guide on how I trade breakouts. You're also going to get a 214-page guide on how I trade reversals. And by the way, these two guides, I go really, really in depth with the strategies, with the theory, with the logic, and also I include like total combined within these two guides, there's more than 75 trade screenshots for you to study, like through just continuous repetition, and it's going to help you train that pattern recognition of seeing the exact same thing happen over and over again. Also, you're going to get a custom trading journal that I built, which makes it really easy for you to track your trades, but also to review your trades. Like literally in the journal, there's a tab called educational resources. And in there, I have a template for reviewing trade screenshots and guide to show you the process for how to actually review your trade screenshots to improve your performance over time. And also a whole bunch of other stuff as well that I give out for free in my Telegram. So if that sounds interesting, click the link in the description to join.